Okay, we're going to learn all about the topic of filters today and what filters are and how you can apply them to your photo. Filters are basically special effects, things that you can do to just change the look of the image. You've all blurred a photo or made it look like like an oil painting, and there's a lot of different filters. They're found up here in the filters menu of Gimp. Go up to the top here. And there's a list of filters, and you can actually download more filters. Photoshop is known for having users create their own filters and literally getting thousands and thousands of different filters that you can apply. And before we jump into actually applying some of these filters, I just want to show you really quick what a filter really is. It's not actually a Photoshop or a GIMP term. It predates computer software, and it comes from actual filters that you would attach to a lens of a camera back before we had computers and digital photography. When someone wanted a special effect, they had to actually apply it either in the darkroom or on the actual filter attached to the lens. And here's an example, for example, of a bridge here. These lights, this was not a Photoshop effect or anything. This was actually done by putting a filter on a camera, and that filter was a star filter that gives you these stars instead of just bright lights. So I just want to mention that these are actually the concept is, originates in actual photography, not just a GIMP process. And there are a lot of filters. We're not going to go over all of them. We're not going to go over maybe 10% of the ones that even come with GIMP. But I do want to show you some of the ones that we're going to use either often or some of the fun ones that you can just play with later. Probably the most common filter we'll use is the blur, and specifically the Gaussian blur. The reason we use this blur is it gives you a parameter down here, horizontal and vertical radius. Basically just means how much blur do you want. If this is a very small number, you're barely going to see any difference. As you increase this up into the 40s, you can see it completely blurs out the photo. And why would we blur out a photo? Well, there's a lot of different reasons. Many times, especially on portraits of people, you're going to have a blur around the edges so that the background's out of focus, or the sides of the picture, it draws your eye right to the center. And I can go ahead and blur this one, but you typically wouldn't blur this photograph because it has all your, it's the main image. That one didn't take too long. Some of these filters will take a little while. You'll notice that, I'm not sure if I can do it very quickly here. Down at the very bottom of the screen, you'll see this green progress bar going across. If you do a filter and it doesn't seem to do anything, just look and see whether that filter is still running. Some of these may take 20, 30, sometimes even several minutes to process all the different calculations. So that's blur. There's another one we'll use under enhance. It's the opposite of blur. It's to sharpen. Surprisingly, we're not going to use the sharpen. We're going to use the unsharp mask. That sounds like it's the opposite of what you want. It sounds like you're going to blur something because you're unsharpening it, but actually unsharp mask is one of the better tools. Now this is a little exaggerated. I'm going to kind of overdo it just so you get the idea of what an unsharp mask does, but it puts a lot of the detail back into the photo, so it kind of sharpens up all those leaves and trees. This one I did too much just to show you an example of the unsharp mask, but that's under the enhance option here. There's a lot of distorts. You can twist and turn and ripple and create waves, and you can do all kind of, again, not very practical on a true photograph like the scene of a mountain, but let's say you're trying to make a background for a PowerPoint. You want something more abstract or wavy in the background, so you can actually use this for photographs off your camera, something you can just create. Under light and shadow, there are some different lens flares and gradient flares. Lighting effects actually adds kind of a fake light. Let me put this back on the original settings here. And these are not very good values for this particular, but you can actually create a fake light that's almost like a flashlight shining across your image. A lot of these you're just going to have to open up and play with and see what they do. Noise actually creates kind of a grain to your photo. Hope you can see that. And sometimes you actually want a photograph to look old, so you actually add some grain and some defect to the photo. Edge detect. We've actually used edge detect even in school for posters. If we have a photograph of a lion, we want to project the lion and just trace the lion. Sometimes you want to do a edge detect, and this one may not work real well, but let's try it and see. Again, it's running through the different calculations, and it's going to eventually give us this tree here, and you can pretty much see it. And of course, you can always combine these with other tools we've already learned, like levels. So if I take my levels and darken it up here, I can see it a little bit better. But so let's say I just want to trace that tree. You could use edge detect, and so there's several different types of edge detect. You can go through there and kind of experiment with some of those. And I'm not going to go over all these. Under the artistic ones, you do have things that allow you to apply like a canvas that gives you kind of a cloth-like canvas appearance. And there's another one that actually does a lot of other things called Gimp Impressionist. Kind of a pun off the word impressionist. And you can, I did this feathers one a moment ago, and a kind of interesting effect. It basically gives you have a lot of different options by making your image look like it was printed on bricks or on different textures, stone, marble, all these different. Let's try to do the bricks real quick. I haven't tried that one before. And then again, let me move the bottom so you can see that it does. This one's going to take a few seconds to actually run, so we're just going to be patient and let that finish. It's about halfway done. Hopefully this will be worth the wait. Sometimes you're going to, and this has happened in the past, the students will apply a filter, wait a minute, and then get really disappointing results, and that just happens. So you're just learning what the tool does. So hopefully this one looks like it's on some sort of brick. I don't see bricks. I may have applied another pattern by mistake, because it did apply something, but kind of interesting little patterns in there, but not bricks. But anyway, that's all under the Gimpressionist option. There's others like Van Gogh. You can give a Van Gogh look. So let's see if he were painting the scene, he would have painted. And again, some of these photos are going to cause your computer to crash. For whatever reason, Gimp is not the most stable program. So we're going to hit Don't Send, and we're going to hit OK, and we're just going to move to another photograph because that one crashed. Here's a photo I did a little while ago called, I believe this is under the render option under nature and flame, and it gave me kind of an abstract little flame shape. I don't know where you'd use that, but again, that's under render. They actually have things like fog and clouds. And let's see, I don't think I like that color. Let's pick a different color. I don't know what this is going to do. And hit OK, and we'll get some sort of fog. Yeah, it basically, okay, I think what it did is, I don't know if you can tell this, but it's a little foggier at the bottom of the picture, and then it gets less foggy, it goes up, I guess, is the idea. Again, not a great filter there. So I'm just going to let you in class just kind of go through these, and there's ones that add coffee stains and fuzzy border, old photos, artistic. Again, you can oilify your painting, make it look like it was a oil painting. Let's see if that one will take too long. Well, that one's going to take about 30 seconds to run here. So let's just see if this is worth the wait. So this is going to look like an oil painting, or Gimp's version of an oil painting. About halfway done. About 3/4 the way done. Hope this is worth the wait. Again, the faster your computer, if you do this on a brand new computer, this won't take very long. My computer is several years old, so let's zoom in and see. So that's the oil painting effect. Again, these just depends on what you're going for, and to be honest with you, filters do have kind of a bad reputation as far as in professional realms, because a lot of the amateur people who just they don't know how to use them, or they overuse them, they apply too many filters, things are not needed. Kind of the Instagram idea of just applying a lot of filters to your. Sometimes you don't need all that. You just want your photograph to stand on its own. But these are all filters. Again, they come from the actual filter that's actually screwed onto the end of a lens to give a special effect in the camera. Nowadays, they're more commonly known as special effects on photographs. The most common one we'll be using is blur. We're using that a lot in different applications. But just be aware of some of these others, like the edge detect and the unsharp mask, and the there's a cartoon and cubism and Gimpressionist, and there's tiles. Let's see what the tile looks like. We'll do one last one. That's not too interesting. So lots of different filters, and again, these are the ones that come with Gimp. You can download more filters from other GIMP users, and if you have Photoshop, you have an even larger library, because on the Adobe website who makes Photoshop, they have thousands of filters that you can download to add new functionality to your program. So that's the filters tools that you can apply to your images.